in a quiet suburban home nestled among tree-lined streets and well-tended gardens. Life followed a gentle, predictable rhythm. The Roberts family had long cherished the comforting routines of daily life: morning coffees on the porch, evening walks under the soft glow of streetlights, and family dinners filled with laughter and conversation. Yet behind the facade of normalcy, a hidden danger lurked silently in the shadows of the night. The Roberts household was one where love and care were at the forefront. Among its members was 10-year-old Emma, a bright, sensitive child who, despite her bubbly exterior, had been diagnosed with severe asthma. For Emma, the world was both wondrous and overwhelming. The simple act of breathing could sometimes become a battle. Unbeknownst to her family, Emma's body was prone to sudden, life-threatening allergic reactions triggered by various environmental factors. Over the years, her parents, Laura and Michael, had learned to watch for signs of distress, wheezing, rapid breathing, and a pallor that often signaled the onset of an asthma attack. They kept her inhaler close at hand and monitored her closely, especially at night when she was most vulnerable. Amidst the warmth of their home lived a gentle yet perceptive Pitbull named Rex. Although Rex had never undergone formal medical alert training, his natural instincts were profound. With a strong, muscular build and eyes that shone with intelligence and empathy, Rex had become an integral part of the Roberts family. His loyalty was unwavering, and over the years, he had grown accustomed to the subtle cues of the household. He knew when Emma's breathing would change imperceptibly before a full-blown attack, and he often reacted in ways that suggested a deep, intuitive understanding of her condition. One crisp autumn night, when the Roberts family had settled into their nightly routine, the stage was set for a moment that would forever change their lives. The clock struck midnight, and the house was bathed in a gentle silence that only deep sleep can bring. In the dim glow of a bedside lamp, Emma lay sleeping, her breathing slow and rhythmic. Michael had retired to the study, and Laura was preparing for bed in the quiet calm of their living room. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, and the occasional hoot of an owl punctuated the night. It was during this fragile period of vulnerability that Rex, who had been dozing near the family's favorite armchair, suddenly stirred. His ears pricked up and his eyes, usually soft and relaxed, became focused and alert. A subtle change in the air, a faint, almost imperceptible shift in the rhythm of Emma's breathing, had caught his attention. Untrained yet instinctively brilliant, Rex sensed that something was amiss. He rose slowly, his body tensing as he approached Emma's bedroom. With deliberate care, he padded toward the bed, his eyes never leaving Emma's face. In that silent room, a transformation occurred. Emma's once uniform breathing pattern began to falter. There was a slight wheeze, a subtle hitch that might have gone unnoticed by even the most vigilant human eye. But Rex, with his finely tuned senses, detected it immediately. Unable to ignore the change, he started to bark softly at first, a gentle, insistent sound meant to wake without frightening. His barks grew gradually more urgent as he continued his approach. With each successive bark, he nudged at the blanket with his paw, as if trying to physically shake Emma out of the dangerous lapse. Laura, awakened by the soft but persistent sound of Rex's bark, emerged from her room in a haze of sleep. The gentle lamplight revealed Rex standing guard by Emma's bed, his head lowered and eyes locked onto the sleeping form. As Laura approached, she noted with concern the subtle change in Emma's complexion, a faint pallor that had not been there moments before. "Emma?" she whispered, leaning over to rouse her daughter. At that moment, Rex's barking intensified, and he began to nudge Emma more insistently, almost as if urging her to awaken fully. Slowly, Emma's eyes fluttered open, and a look of confusion crossed her face before she began to struggle for breath. Laura quickly recognized the signs, a mild yet dangerous onset of an asthma attack. "Oh, sweetheart," she murmured, gently helping Emma sit up. Michael rushed in from the study, his eyes widening as he took in the scene. The realization hit them all. Something was very wrong. In a flurry of activity, Laura grabbed Emma's inhaler from the bedside table and administered a dose, while Michael comforted their frightened daughter. Rex, ever the vigilant guardian, stayed at the foot of the bed, his eyes reflecting both concern and a fierce determination to protect. In the following moments, as the inhaler's effects began to take hold, The family's panic slowly gave way to relief. Emma's breathing steadied, and the room, once filled with tension, settled back into a cautious calm. However, the events of that night had shaken them deeply. The subtle changes in Emma's breathing had been detected by a dog who was not formally trained as a medical alert animal, but whose natural instincts had proven to be nothing short of miraculous. In the days that followed, the Roberts family began to reflect on that critical moment with a mixture of awe and gratitude. They conducted interviews with local medical experts who explained that even untrained animals might be capable of detecting slight physiological changes, such as alterations in breath composition or rhythm, which can indicate the onset of an asthma attack or other respiratory distress. Dr. Ellen Pierce, a renowned pulmonologist, was interviewed on local television and stated, "The human body emits subtle chemical signals that are often imperceptible to us. Dogs, with their extraordinary sense of smell and acute hearing, can sometimes detect these changes before the symptoms become severe." What happened with the Roberts family is a beautiful example of the untapped potential of our animal companions to assist in medical emergencies. The family also shared their personal experience with others, recounting the night when Rex's unwavering vigilance saved Emma from a potentially dangerous episode. In a heartfelt interview with a local news station, Michael expressed, "We always trusted Rex with our lives. But that night, he gave us something we didn't even know we needed, the early warning that made all the difference." It's amazing how a dog can sense things that we can't even begin to understand. Laura, with tears glistening in her eyes, added, "Rex's actions not only saved our daughter's life but reminded us of the incredible bond we share with him. He's more than just a pet, he's our guardian angel." As word of the incident spread through social media, hashtags such as #GuardianRex and #LifesavingDog began to trend among local communities. Many families shared similar stories of their pets alerting them to unseen dangers, a reminder that sometimes the smallest and most unassuming creatures can have the biggest impact on our lives. Discussions blossomed online about the potential for integrating naturally alert animals into emergency health protocols. And animal behaviorists were frequently quoted, emphasizing the importance of nurturing and recognizing the instincts of our four-legged companions. Local community centers soon hosted workshops on emergency preparedness, where residents learned not only about the proper use of inhalers and other life-saving devices but also about how to recognize the subtle signs that a pet might be giving off. In these sessions, examples like Rex's intervention were highlighted, and families were encouraged to develop an even deeper connection with their pets. When we tune in to the natural signals our pets provide, we open ourselves up to a level of care that technology alone cannot offer, said one workshop facilitator, a certified animal behavior specialist. Over the subsequent months, the story of Rex's intervention continued to be shared at community gatherings, in school assemblies, and on local radio programs. The incident spurred discussions about the role of pets in our lives, not only as companions but also as potential early warning systems for health emergencies. Researchers at a nearby university even launched preliminary studies to explore how dogs might be able to detect early signs of respiratory distress through changes in a person's breath. While the research was still in its early stages, the potential was clear. Our animal companions might be capable of saving lives in ways we have only just begun to understand. In addition to the scientific and community response, the Roberts family began to implement new safety measures at home. They upgraded their home's monitoring systems, installed additional carbon monoxide detectors, and even scheduled regular checkups for Emma's respiratory health. Every time Emma's inhaler was used or a routine check was completed, the family was reminded of that night when Rex's bark had awakened them to a silent emergency. It became a constant, poignant reminder of the delicate balance between vulnerability and protection. In quiet, reflective moments on their back porch, as the family gathered to watch the sunset paint the sky in hues of deep orange and purple, they would often speak in hushed tones about Rex's remarkable ability to sense danger. Michael would say, "Every time I see Rex's focused eyes, I'm reminded that love is not just a feeling, it's a life-saving force." His words resonated with Laura, who would reply, "He's our silent guardian, our little hero who saved our little girl when we least expected it." And as Emma, now feeling safer and more confident, listened with wide, understanding eyes, The family's bond seemed to grow even stronger, a bond forged in moments of crisis and tempered by the shared hope for a better tomorrow. Local media continued to document the aftermath, with follow-up reports on the community's increased focus on health and safety. Interviews with emergency responders, community leaders, and even other families who had experienced similar episodes created a tapestry of shared experiences. A paramedic, recalling the night's events, stated in an interview, "It's rare to see a dog act with such instinctive precision. What Rex did that night gave us a precious window to intervene. And that saved a life." His words, echoed by others, reinforced the idea that every member of the family, human or animal, has a role to play in safeguarding life. As time went on, the story of Rex's timely intervention became interwoven with local initiatives promoting animal-assisted therapy and emergency preparedness. Community centers organized art projects, creative writing contests, and public safety workshops inspired by the incident. Local schools invited experts to speak about the interplay between human physiology and animal behavior, encouraging students to explore the potential of integrating natural instincts into modern health protocols. The narrative of that critical night served as a powerful reminder that vigilance, love, and the deep connections we forge with our pets can transform a moment of crisis into a lifelong lesson in hope and resilience. In reflective interviews, the Roberts family expressed that while the memory of that night would forever be tinged with the shadow of fear, it also shone brightly with gratitude. "We now understand that our pets are not just companions, they're an extension of our senses," Laura explained in a heartfelt conversation with a local reporter. "Rex gave us the gift of time, time to act, time to care, and time to heal, and that is something we will always cherish." The family's testimony, filled with both vulnerability and strength, resonated deeply with viewers and helped to redefine how many people perceived the role of untrained, yet inherently intuitive, animal companions in everyday life. As the seasons turned and a new year dawned, the impact of Rex's actions continued to ripple outward, influencing not only the Roberts family but also the broader community. The story became a catalyst for increased awareness of respiratory health, the critical importance of early intervention in medical emergencies, and the often overlooked potential of our animal friends to serve as guardians of life. Local research into canine olfaction and behavioral cues gained momentum, and preliminary studies suggested that with a little training, many dogs could be taught to recognize even the subtlest signs of distress in their human companions. By the end of the year, the narrative of that unforgettable night had woven itself into the collective memory of the community. Social media buzzed with ongoing conversations about #GuardianRex and #LifesavingDog. And a series of public service announcements emphasized the importance of staying vigilant and developing a deeper bond with one's pet. In community centers, workshops and classes continued to share the lessons learned, and families across the region began to see their pets in a new, more heroic light. In a final reflection on the journey, Michael summed up the experience with quiet conviction during a local interview. "It wasn't just Rex's bark that saved us, it was the love behind it. The connection we share, that turned a moment of fear into a testament of hope. That night, we learned that sometimes, the smallest gestures can change the course of a life." His words, laden with wisdom and deep gratitude, resonated throughout the community as a timeless reminder that in every heartbeat, every breath, there exists a spark of love waiting to be recognized. In the quiet hours after that fateful night, when the Roberts family slowly emerged from the initial shock of the emergency, a profound shift began to take root in their daily lives. The incident, which had unfolded so unexpectedly in the soft darkness of their home, left an indelible mark on every member of the family. In the days following the episode, when the family huddled together in a state of cautious relief, they resolved to never again take for granted the fragile boundaries between health and danger. As Emma's breathing steadied and the effects of the emergency inhaler took hold, the family, now acutely aware of the latent risks they had once overlooked, gathered in the living room to reflect on what had transpired. Laura and Michael, whose hearts had raced in terror just moments before, sat side by side with Emma as she recovered, their expressions a mix of gratitude and newfound vigilance. In those quiet moments, they marveled at the silent heroism of Rex, the family's gentle Pitbull, his unwavering alertness, evident in every soft bark and every determined step toward Emma's bedside, had saved their daughter from a potentially life-threatening crisis. The realization that a dog, untrained in formal medical alert techniques yet guided by powerful instinct, could detect the slightest change in a human's breath filled the room with awe and a renewed sense of gratitude. Determined to honor the gift of time that Rex had given them, the Roberts family began to make practical changes around their home. They installed additional medical monitoring devices and upgraded their emergency response plans, ensuring that each family member would have immediate access to life-saving medication. More than just a series of precautionary measures, these actions became symbols of a deeper commitment to safeguarding their lives, a commitment inspired by the quiet heroism of a pet whose instincts transcended conventional boundaries. In the weeks that followed, the story of that night rippled through the local community. Neighbors recalled how, in the hush of darkness, the sound of Rex's persistent barks had stirred them from sleep and prompted a swift, life-saving response. At community meetings held in the local town hall, residents shared their own experiences of how their pets had alerted them to unseen dangers. These discussions, held in a spirit of openness and mutual support, gradually transformed the community's outlook on pet behavior, revealing that the gentle instincts of an animal could serve as a crucial early warning system for health emergencies. "It's amazing," one neighbor remarked during one such meeting, "how our pets, our silent, loving companions, often perceive what we cannot. They remind us to be vigilant, to listen to the smallest signals that could make all the difference." His words resonated deeply with the audience, fostering a sense of collective responsibility and care. Local media soon picked up on the story, producing follow-up segments that focused on the scientific marvel behind Rex's behavior. Interviews with Dr. Ellen Pierce, a pulmonologist with a keen interest in animal-assisted health interventions, explained that the human body emits subtle chemical cues during distress, changes in the breath composition and the rhythm of breathing that are imperceptible to most people, but which dogs can detect with astonishing precision. Dogs have an extraordinary sense of smell and an innate ability to pick up on even the faintest changes in their environment. Dr. Pierce explained in an interview, "Rex's alertness isn't just a quirk of behavior. It's a manifestation of a biological connection that can literally save lives." Her explanation lent scientific credibility to the Roberts family's experience, and it encouraged other families to explore the potential benefits of fostering closer bonds with their pets. At home, the incident spurred a period of introspection and heartfelt connection. Every evening, as the golden hues of sunset filled the living room and the family gathered to share dinner, there was a quiet moment of remembrance, a silent acknowledgement of the night when a dog's vigilance had changed the course of their lives. Emma, who had once taken her ability to breathe for granted, began to appreciate the small miracles that each day held. With gentle smiles and tender gestures, she would often pat Rex's head, her way of saying, "Thank you," for his unspoken promise of safety. Michael, too, felt a deep transformation. His long-held worries about his family's well-being were gradually replaced by a sense of empowerment. He resolved to educate others on the importance of staying attuned to the subtle signs of distress that often go unnoticed until it is too late. The Roberts family soon found that their experience had a ripple effect beyond the confines of their home. Local schools invited representatives from emergency preparedness programs to discuss the importance of recognizing early warning signs, not only in our health but in the environment around us. Workshops at community centers began to include sessions on the role that pets can play in monitoring and responding to emergencies. In one memorable session, an animal behaviorist demonstrated how even untrained dogs could become remarkably sensitive to changes in their owner's physiology. Participants were shown video clips of Rex's behavior that night, clips that captured the determined look in his eyes, the soft yet insistent barks, and the subtle body language that had ultimately prompted the family to take action. These workshops ignited conversations about how technology and nature might one day be integrated to enhance our overall safety. Drawing on the extraordinary capabilities of our most loyal companions, the family's story was further immortalized through a series of community art projects and local history exhibits. One local artist created a mural in the community center, portraying a serene scene of a gentle Pitbull with attentive eyes by a window, symbolizing the unseen guardian that watches over us all. The mural quickly became a beloved landmark, a visual reminder of the power of vigilance and the life-saving potential that lies within the bonds between humans and animals. As months turned into a year, the memory of that life-altering night remained a beacon of hope for the Roberts family and their community. Social media posts under hashtags like #GuardianRex and #LifeSavingPet continued to inspire others. And numerous letters of gratitude were sent to local news stations and community organizations, celebrating the story of a dog whose natural instincts had saved a life. For many, Rex became more than just a pet. He became a symbol of the quiet heroism that exists in everyday life, a reminder that even when darkness falls, the light of loyalty and love can guide us through. In reflective interviews recorded during community safety events, Michael summed up the experience with quiet conviction. "We always knew Rex was special," he said, "but that night, he showed us just how much he cared. His actions gave us the time we needed to act and saved our daughter's life." It's a lesson for all of us about the power of paying attention to the little signs and trusting in the unconditional love of our pets. His words, filled with gratitude and wisdom, resonated with everyone present, forging an unbreakable bond of shared hope and responsibility. Local researchers continued to explore the phenomenon of animal-assisted alert systems, and preliminary studies confirmed that even untrained dogs could pick up on subtle physiological changes in their human companions. These findings opened new avenues for integrating natural animal instincts into emergency health protocols, inspiring further research and innovative applications that promised to save countless lives in the future. In the end, the legacy of that cold, silent night was not defined solely by the crisis that had been averted, but by the enduring lessons of vigilance, empathy, and the transformative power of the human-animal bond. The Roberts family, forever changed by their experience, continued to advocate for stronger community ties, better emergency preparedness, and a deeper appreciation for the quiet heroism that often goes unnoticed. Every time they gathered together, whether at the dinner table, during evening walks, or at community events, they remembered that night with a mixture of solemn gratitude and hopeful optimism. Rex's actions had shown them that in the symphony of life, every bark, every subtle change in breath, is a note of hope that can save a life.